The road to addiction often does not happen overnight. And of course, it did not happen for someone we have with us, and that is Jennifer. When she was a teenager who got into alcohol and then tried marijuana, and then eventually progressed from painkillers onto cocaine. Before she knew it, drugs had overtaken her life. Through 6 rehab centers, 3 halfway houses, and a long rap sheet filled with countless arrests. At a time when she was unable to see her children and kicked out of her own house, she was broken and discouraged, and she needed a change. On June 5th, 2014, that change began in Terrebonne Parish. Jennifer entered a drug court, her second chance of life to start over. She received rigorous treatment and counseling, and she learned structure and accountability. Today, Jennifer is almost 5 years sober. She is happy, she's healthy, and she's reunited with her family. And I'm grateful to say that she is standing with us today as we announce this great new bipartisan criminal justice reform. As your Attorney General, I'm joined today by Senator Rick Ward, Representative Denise Morsell, Tangible Parish President Robbie Miller, 19th Judicial District Court Judge Don Johnson, Iberville Parish Sheriff Brett Stassi, 60th Judicial District First Assistant Robbie Vines, and 2016 drug court graduate Jennifer Holloman. Unfortunately, the Louisiana Public Defenders Board Chairman Frank Holhouse had an unavoidable commitment and could not join us, but will certainly be making some remarks later on to the press. And oftentimes Louisiana is blessed with opportunities that the public has only seen us squander. Because instead of doing a few great things, we do a lot of nothings. Today that changes. It changes with the announcement of this major legislation. And this legislation basically looks over the horizon in anticipation of major settlements and actions against the companies that have helped to fuel America's opioid epidemic. What you see behind me is a diverse group of people, elected officials and private citizens who have come together to build trust and credibility in our government system, all in an effort to make Louisiana safer and better. Before we talk about the bill, I want to just quickly talk about the opioid epidemic, because it's something that has impacted almost everyone who is either watching, listening, or is in this room. I know it has affected me personally. We all know someone who has abused, misused, or unfortunately had an overdose in drugs. And this is an issue that I don't take lightly. From lobbying Congress for more stringent oversight over opioid manufacturers and distributors, to creating the endepidemicla.org website that we put together as an informational campaign, to making naloxone available to our first responders, to putting drug take-back boxes in every parish around Louisiana. This office, along with me, has worked to stem the tide and to try to stop this deadly epidemic. What's more, this office has spent the last 3 years investigating those who proliferated and profited off of this crisis. Just last month, we announced a multi-million-dollar settlement with a massive consulting firm who helped opioid companies promote their drugs and profit off of this epidemic. It was a great start in holding accountable those who stoked the fire of the opioid crisis. But we still have a long way to go, because we need to treat the addicted, relieve their families, and protect the public from this horrific crisis. And improving our drug courts will help us in that cause. Decades ago, at the height of the crack cocaine epidemic, some justice and treatment professionals came together to offer treatment and compassion. They created the first treatment court, and in doing so, began an option that has saved more than 1 million lives and hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money. They helped to not only reduce the crime at the time, but also reduce recidivism. Because the goal of any criminal justice reform should be how we keep people from going to jail. By holding people accountable while connecting them to evidence-based treatment, they started a justice model that has protected public safety and promoted public health. And so last year, I was excited to work with the legislature, Senator Rick Ward and Representative Marcel in particular, to create a drug specialty court commission. That commission is well represented here today and has been working tirelessly throughout the last year to complete the task of determining if drug courts will succeed and how we might be able to make them better. Now, the numbers don't lie. According to the Louisiana Department of Corrections, about 15% of inmates released in 2016 were reoffenders. However, only 6.7% in 2016 of drug court graduates were reoffenders within 3 years. And we are lucky, as I said earlier, to have one of them here today. Think about that, because again, it's the recidivism that we really need to stop. In 2019 alone, 47 drug-free babies were born to drug court participants, saving taxpayers an estimated $11.7 million. Since the inception of the drug court program in Louisiana, there have been over 800 similarly recorded drug-free births. These statistics are a testament to the way drug courts address the root cause of drug use and criminal behavior like poverty, mental health issues, physical health, and unemployment. Another testament is Ms. Jennifer Holloman. Jennifer, would you mind just sharing your story with us for just a second?
Right, thank you. Hi, man. I am a drug court graduate of Terrebonne Parish from 2016. I have been clean since September 27th of 2014. When I started using, I was in high school. I was young. It was social. It was drinking. It was smoking marijuana. It was all the fun things that I thought it was until it turned into not being fun. Disease is a progressive illness. I didn't ask to be an addict. I didn't ask to be addicted to opiates, crack. I didn't ask to be not around my family or my children for so long, but I honestly owe my life to drug court. Drug court taught me structure. It taught me accountability. It taught me that I could live a new life. It taught me how to live a new life. But for me, it took long term. I had to be ready. Like he had said, 6 rehabs, 3 halfway houses, in and out of parish jail, up the road, prison. Today I have 6.5 years clean. I have a wonderful relationship with my children. My daughter is 14. We FaceTime every day. Also see her personally all the time. But if it wasn't for drug court and the long-term program that has different levels to it, I think that's very important, because if you're an addict for so long, you don't just stop using and you just become, oh, I'm fixed. It doesn't work that way. So today I'm a happy individual. I have a productive life. I'm a productive member of society, and I owe my life to drug court. And I continue to work with drug court as a mentor, and I help other ladies and men. And that's just my purpose today, to help another addict, to help somebody know that they can stay clean and they can live a good life today. So that's me, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
It was so great to see this commission come together with a number of stakeholders in being able to get us the legislation that is going to hopefully reinvent and reestablish drug courts here in Louisiana. And so while drug courts have helped many people like Jennifer, Our Drug and Specialty Court Commission found that there actually had been a decline in participation over recent years. Part of this due to changes in the criminal justice system, and part due to a lack of funding. Without substantive changes in proper resources, our 75 current drug and specialty courts in Louisiana are at risk. In fact, several have closed over the last few years. In the 13 judicial districts and there are 13 judicial districts without a drug court program. Let me be clear. We need a drug court in every parish, and it needs to be fully funded. So I'm proud today to have worked with the author of this legislation, Senator Rick Ward, in introducing a bill that will create a dedicated drug and specialty court fund in the state treasury. The fund will be dispersed to state and local entities across Louisiana to implement and sustain their drug court program. The bill will expand drug testing for all arrestees and would require anyone testing positive to be screened for suitability in a drug or specialty court program. This process can quickly identify individuals with substance use disorders who have become involved in the criminal justice system and hopefully provide early intervention and treatment so that we eliminate recidivism. The fund created by this bill would be financed by these settlements, judgments, and penalties recovered by the state from those who have profited over the opioid crisis. At this time, I'd like to call up Senator Rick Ward and then after Representative Denise Marcel to say a few words. Senator?
Well, thank you, Mr. General. And Jennifer, thank you for being willing to share your story. I think it's, in my 10 years in the legislature, we've had very little opportunity to take dollars that we see coming in and not just find a way to utilize them. We've done that, but find a way to utilize them into a program that has already been successful. And that's exactly what the drug program has been. It has taken recidivism in certain areas down from 35, 36% all the way down to 6%. And so to be able to work on trying to beef up and make those things even better, I can't tell you how excited I am. And of course, like a lot of difficult things or big things where there's money involved, it's been a multi-year process. We started off last year. And we put the group together with all the different stakeholders to make sure that it was done properly. I think this gets it. We're still tweaking a few things, but I look forward to working with everyone across the board. I think if you look back at the legislature and some of the most significant things that have been passed, almost every single one of them requires bipartisan support. And you can tell just by those standing behind me, this is a very diverse group of people that have worked on this, and everybody's come to an agreement that this will be a positive way to impact the drug courts and how they operate and how to make them better going forward. So thank you all for your time, and General, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. I want to thank the commission for allowing me to participate in this very important commission where we looked to expand the drug courts in a lot of the rural parishes. We also looked to identify who, would benefit from this program. And so I think we've done that, and one of the things we were faced with, of course, was always one thing is funding, right? And so whenever there is something as crucial as the epidemic that we've seen with opioids and the money is there, I think it's best that we sit down, come together as one body, bipartisan, and figure out what is the best use of this money. It is never enough money to do everything that we need to do. I want to start out by saying thank you for Jennifer, for her being here, for telling her story. Many of you may know that I'm a former addict with over 25 years, I think 26, 27 years clean. And so personally, it is personal to me that we get the support to the addicts that need the support. Now, I never had to go to drug court, but I was just fortunate that Brett didn't catch me in his parish. And I had a lot of prayer and I had a lot of support. But my point to you is that not only should we be excited about this particular event and unfolding this particular legislation that Senator Ward is proposing to us, but we've got to go further than this. We've got to find money for the bridge centers, for mental health. We've got to go forward with finding funds to reach every addict that we can, and all of them don't come through the criminal justice system. So we've got to do more when we have more funds available to us, but I'm excited about this first step in doing so, because any time that we can do something to make people safer, to make people healthier, to cut down on recidivism, I'm all on board. So I'm proud to be a part of this bipartisan relationship, even though Jeff Landry is a part of it. I told him I was going to do that. But at any rate, I enjoyed working with the judge. I talk to him frequently. We know the struggles of the people in our communities. We see this every day, and we want to be able to reach them. People who want the help, we want to provide that help to them. This is an epidemic. I think it's important that we all come together to face it and to face these challenges ahead. And I look forward to working with Senator Ward and tweaking his bill and possibly getting some type of pilot program out there. And I think that's always important when we do that and see how that works and see where we can get the funding from to sustain it, because it's all about sustainability and reaching the people that need the support. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate arguing with her as much as I do working with her. But, and again, lastly, before we take any questions, I think it's important for everyone to understand that this is a great example that when you can put a commission together who is going to study an issue and takes it seriously. This is not a study that a commission put together and then is on some shelf collecting dust. We're taking action immediately after the commission has issued its finding. And it's proof because this is not a Republican bill and it's not a Democrat bill. Rather, it's a Louisiana bill. And it's one that I believe will absolutely reduce crime, reduce drug use, and reduce the cost to taxpayers. And I look forward to a swift passage of this common sense bipartisan measure.